Hello, everybody. Hi, welcome. I can't believe this worked out okay. We finally made it to a live demo. Welcome, everybody. Can you guys hear me? First of all, that is the first thing that I always ask. If you can hear me clearly, just say, hey, Jane. Yes, give me a yes, all good. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. I'm so honored that you are here joining me. Honestly, I'm amazed always that people want to show up and just be a part of this thing. I'm truly grateful. Thank you so much for joining. I've seen a few people in the chat saying where they're from, so please drop into the chat. Let me know where you're coming in from. I love to see everybody from so many different areas. It's so cool to see all my friends from Canada and locally. I've just seen how many people have jumped on locally. Welcome. So nice to see you guys. What's going on with the weather? It is like crazy. Today it was snowing. Yesterday it was a little bit snowy. The day before that it was like 24 degrees. But it's a Canadian thing, right? So welcome everybody from the U.S. Oh, I see Aline from Greece. Welcome. Oh, I love Greece. San Francisco, Naples, love Naples, Phoenix, Netherlands. Oh my gosh, those are a few places on my bucket list, let me tell you. Hi Dallas. Bonjour Quebec, comment ça va? Très bien, merci. Et toi? That's about the extent of my French. Israel, welcome. Oh, wow. We have so many people here. New York. Oh, wow. Vancouver. Love Vancouver. Yes. And Sweden. Oh, my gosh. So one of our moderators, Elizabeth, is from Sweden. Love Sweden as well. So anyway, guys, and bonjour from France. Lovely, lovely to see you and have you here. I really appreciate it. And as you know, this is the first demo. Thank you to all that read my last newsletter because I had to reschedule. As I said, I couldn't miss or dodge the COVID bullet. So I think now I've probably been the last person on the planet to be sick. So I'm still, not 100%, but I'm getting there. I'm almost there. And so thankfully I was able to schedule this and have you guys be here and ask questions and join and just to give you an overview of the Spring Mixed Media Masterclass. I'm excited, and I know many people who missed the fall class and weren't able to attend for various reasons are looking to attend the spring class. And so I want to preface this demo or just overview for today to let you know that this class that I'm running in spring or for 2022, it'll be the last of this kind. Usually after a few years, I decide to move on to other things and incorporate new mediums and new media, new products, all, different kinds of things into my work. And so this will be the last chance for you guys to participate in this particular program that's going to be group led. So if you don't know anything about this program, and I'm going to go through everything with you, what you need, I want you to just, don't worry too much about certain things when it comes to supplies and where you live and if you can make some, join in on some of the lives and those sorts of things. I'll cover all of that. I'll answer all of your questions so that you feel comfortable and you feel good and excited about moving into the program. So it does open for registration on May 3rd. I think I've said that several times. So there's still a bit of time for you to, just decide if the program is indeed for you, which I'm fairly certain it is because there's so many things that, we dive into with mixed media and collage and texture. You're just going to get inspired and want to incorporate, if not all, at least some of the techniques so that you can make the art your own, right? That's the key, is that you come out of this journey feeling confident and excited and able to create something that's really unique for you. So even if you come through the program and you follow along with everything that I do, it doesn't mean to say that the outcome is going to be the same. There's so many people who have gone through this program, and let me tell you, there's been so many artists from so many different countries. So if you're worried that you're going to be alone in your own little country, in your own little city, don't feel that way, because I can pretty much assure you that there's going to be somebody in the group that you are going to be able to connect with, build a relationship. There's always people that seem to hit it off one-on-one and they continue on after the program, being friends and having relationships with other artists. But there's generally somebody from the same country in the program. And in fact, the very first time that I ran the mixed media course, I think it was just when COVID was starting. And I had a handful of people that joined from Australia. And, they were really strict in their lockdown and were not able to get any supplies whatsoever. I mean, they were just beside themselves. They couldn't get anything. So I really want to let you know that please don't worry. First of all, if you can't get all of the supplies, first of all, I you know me, I love supplies, I love to experiment. By no means do you have to use exactly and everything that I use in the program. So the artists that couldn't get supplies when they started during the pandemic, they went through the program with everyone else. They watched all of the content. So each week I release content. Every Monday, a new lesson for the week goes out and the group goes along and we do the projects together. And then at the end of the week, we regroup with a live Q&A, kind of like this. And I answer all of your questions and any issues that you may be faced with within the program. We go through all of that. But the great thing is with the people that couldn't get supplies, it was almost more beneficial to them because they were able to go through the entire program and then go back and revisit each module and then get the things that they needed or they wanted. Because you may go through some of it and even though I'm using a specific supply, you may not want that, or you may decide I'm going to use something different. It's more of to get you thinking outside the box, get you inspired, get you excited to create. And of course, yes, there's definitely some essentials which I'll cover. But each week, you still have time to order things. So, we cover texture, dimensional textures near the end of the program. So if you decide next week when the doors open that you're going to join and you don't have all of the supplies, don't worry. It's okay. Don't worry about that. You've got lots of time. This program comes with a lifetime access. So there's no worry of it going away anytime soon. You have the support of the Facebook community. There's a private Facebook community for the duration of the program that I go through with you one-on-one every single week. It's intimate, it's supportive. You're not going to be alone. Everyone's there to help you. And if you can't find a supply, we're here for you. We'll find it for you. Everyone gets together and we are very resourceful. Christine, my admin, she's in the chat right now. She is so supportive and will be there for you like every single day. Trust me, she's in the group all the time answering questions. Not a problem. We will get it sorted for you. And over the last several launches of this course, we've put together a substitution list because definitely, depending on where you live, there may be a product that you just can't get. And that's understandable. We've had people from countries that are outside of the norm, outside of North America. And you can't always find, but we have substitutions. Trust me, we can get you something that's going to be relatively the same. Okay, so I'm looking in the chat and I'm going to try not to deviate away from, what I want to share with you guys. But Christine will pose questions at the end. So if you do have a question about the program, you can definitely drop it in the chat. Please try and put a Q beside your question, Q semicolon, so she knows that it's a question. And then at the end, she'll drop those to me on my email here, and then I can open those up and then I can ask your question or answer your questions if you have them, so you won't go left unanswered, because I can see, lots of questions and people saying hi and all of those things coming through the chat. So that's okay. We'll answer your questions. That's not a problem. All right. So that's what I want to preface this by saying is please don't stress, don't worry. Doesn't matter where you live. If you are a beginner artist, you're a pro artist, you're worried about supplies, it's okay. This program is a 5-week-long group-led program. And what that means is what I just said. Each week, I release new content that the group, you included, will then learn, and you'll do the projects, you'll do the art, create, share in the Facebook community group if you want to. The Facebook community group is not mandatory. You do not have to join it to be able to go through the program and participate. Honestly, if you're on Facebook, it's certainly a place where I would highly recommend that you be and participate in, so that you get that additional support, and you feel that you're not alone and you can ask questions easily. But that's okay. There's many people that have gone through this program and they haven't joined the Facebook community group. I totally respect and understand that. If you just don't want to be part of Facebook, understandable. You can still ask questions. So in the program each week, there's always going to be an area that you can submit your questions. So when the weekly live Q&A is held, which is usually the same time every week, and again, not everybody can make it. If you're in Australia, like I've had lots of people go through the program in Australia, well, we're on completely different different time zones, and it's morning when it's night, and you're sleeping when I'm awake. And so I still want to be able to help you and provide assistance. So with having these submissions for questions directly in the course, you can be watching the content. If you have a burning question right then and there, you can ask it right away, and I will answer them for you each week. And I will record and save and upload the replays. So don't feel that you're worried that you're going to miss information. That's not going to happen. You will not miss out. You will not be alone, and you will be supported. If you don't want to follow along with the group each week, that's fine. You've got your own thing going on. You've got work commitments, family, other things going on. It's totally fine. The program comes with lifetime access, and I've done it for the specific reason, because not everybody feels comfortable going along with a group. They want to do it on their own, and they want to be able to access the content when they feel as though they're ready. They want to come back to it at another time when they do have time. So I understand that, and that's the reason that I have the program lifetime access. So once the program, we go through it, the 5 weeks, it's going to be there for you always, for you to go back to. And once the program is over and we've gone through the duration of the program in the Facebook group, I'll then move you over to the main hub or the main Facebook group there. It's kind of like an alumni group for those that want to participate and belong to that group as well. So you can continue on with your connections with everybody else who's taken this program from various countries. So there you have it. That's kind of the gist of the program in regards to length. And what we always go over, because each week I'll ask, hey, how is everyone doing? Do we need extra time? And if you do, I usually extend it by, a week or two. I'm always around and here to help, as well as Christine and the other moderators that I have in the group. So lots of help for you in the program. So speaking of the program, what then will we be learning? Okay, so there's a ton of modules that we're going to be diving into. And as I said, this is the last year for this particular program. So if you are thinking of joining, then this kind of is your last chance, because I won't be group leading it like this each week and have live support and Q&As and that sort of thing. It'll be gone in that sense. But you'll have lifetime access to it, and you can always go back to it. So keep that in mind. If you're kind of, thinking you're not too sure, then that might be a reason for you to join if you were thinking about it. Okay, so there's a number of modules in this program, and I'll go through some of the supplies. I've got all kinds of things all over the place here that I wanted to share with you. And again, if you have questions, drop them in the chat. Christine will pass those along to me. So we have, let me see, maybe half a dozen or so modules, and starting off with paper textures. Now, there's a ton of paper textures in this program. Each module and each project, I do a brand new set of paper textures, and I cover all different kinds of materials. So it doesn't really matter what you have as far as your paper substrates. you can use whatever you have, really. Obviously, I have some favorites and I'll share those with you for each module, but it doesn't really matter what you use because it's all about being random and having fun and getting that down on paper. So the very first module is a new module for collage with resin. So if you know me, then you know my work is collage with resin. Everything I do on the modules, or sorry, in the modules for our projects, I always use wood panel. You don't have to use wood panel for everything, but honestly, because we're using mixed media and we're using all kinds of products and layering and building, especially for the dimensional texture, you're going to want to use wood panel. Now, I do have a supply list. As I said, there's one as soon as you sign up, when the doors open, there'll be a supply list there and a number of retailers online where you can go to purchase things. So if you're a little bit worried and you can't find them, then there will be a list of suppliers inside as well. But you shouldn't have an issue finding a lot of these things. Whether you go on Amazon or to your, favorite go-to online art retailer, and I'll list a few. I'll chat about a few right now if you are looking. But of course, Amazon is probably one of your first places. And I have an overhead too, so I'll definitely share some overhead so you can see the supplies a little bit more clearly. But all of my work is done on these panels, and you can use any size you want. I'm not limiting you to a specific size. So if you're not comfortable in doing something on a larger panel, then you can use a smaller one. Me, I have little mod minis. I work on 4x4. I've got 6x6, 12x12, and up from there. So if you're new and you're uncomfortable with working on a large panel, then just start off on a small one. Especially if it's budget as well, and you're starting out and you're not sure if this is kind of the thing that you really want to do down the road. Just buy sample sizes of everything, okay? And then you'll know what you like and what you want to use. So these are gallery depth birch wood panels. Now, these are by a Canadian company, Apollon. You can get these from Desserts if you're in Canada, or Curry's. But you can find these online. And again, I have a number of companies that I'll supply. Another favorite, especially within the group, if you take the program, Jackson's Art Supplies is a UK supplier. They ship worldwide, and honestly, they have anything and everything. They are a really good source for art supplies, no matter where you live. So Jackson's Art Supplies, and they don't kill you too much on the shipping costs. So it's a great place to go. So Jackson's Art Supplies. Another place is Ampersand, if you're in the US as well, or North America. And again, we have a moderator, and we've had lots of people go through the program from Europe. So we've got lots of resources for European suppliers as well. So don't worry again if you can't find things. But these are the gallery depth 1.5 or 2 inch profile. You can get standard, anything you want. Wood panel is what I recommend for this program, just because of all of the products and layering that we use. So wood panels, I would suggest getting, half a dozen of different sizes. And again, the number of projects and the supplies, I will have a list of all of those things for you guys. It's just to give you an overview right now so that, you can make sure that this is what you want to do and move forward with. So the panels are what you need for our first project and moving forward, right? So we're going to be doing collage right away with resin, and we're going to be working on our collage panels. So you can see here on the one there, this is kind of my style, my thing, and these are sort of some of the paper textures that we're going to start working on in the first module. So you'll get to learn, I use a lot of gold, so I'll go through some of my favorite gold products. I have a replay on some favorite golds that we'll definitely be going through. So the first module and each module, we're going to be working on collage textures. okay, on different materials. I'm going to be using Yupo. You can use canvas. You can use just regular paper. It doesn't really matter what you use. But if you're going to be working on these particular panels and we're going to be finishing with resin, then you may wish to stick with one kind of material. It's totally up to you. But I'll share with you some of those materials right now so that you can get a sense of what they are. And I'm just going to move my tea out of the way because I don't want to knock that over. So let me just show you here. So again, these are the panels. You've just seen those. These are the wood panels right there. Now there's a bit of a delay for some reason with this particular camera, so I apologize for that. I'm not sure why it's doing that. But here's some of the materials. Now, I'm not going to show you that one right now as much, but you can work on canvas on the roll. This is a great canvas pad by TriArt. So you can use whatever you want. So please don't worry too much, even though I'm showing you these things, that you feel as though you have to use them. Okay, so canvas pad, canvas off the roll. This is another favorite of mine. This is Canson Canva paper. I use this a lot. We do use this in the collage on paper module. So that's the second module. So I really like this particular kind of paper because it has sort of like a linen texture feel. You don't have to use Canson. Again, you don't even have to use this paper. It is a heavier kind of weighted paper. This is 136 pound or 290 gram weight paper, and it has that linen texture feel. You can use a Strathmore, you know, there's other brands. You don't have to use Canson, but I do like Canson paper. So this is one product that I really like and use in the program a couple of times. And then you can use really, you know, this is just some cheap paper off the roll. I use newsprint. We do a whole module on a diptych painting that is all done on newsprint. So you don't have to spend a ton of money. Just use what you have. So if you just want to use one material, and we do use one material for one project, newsprint or just cheap paper off the roll, just make sure that it's, you know, acid free and it's not going to yellow, which most papers are these days, then you can use that. A favorite, which I would suggest being as an essential, I would say get this because we do a little bit of work on Yupo. So this is sort of like the very first paper, which is not paper, it's plastic composite, which I'm sure you're familiar with. This is what I use for alcohol ink, inks. You can use it for a ton of stuff. And the reason that I like Yupo, of course, is because it is a plastic composite. This is just the medium orange pad of weight Yupo, but you can use it for so many things, and it's so thin. And the reason that I like using it for collage is because you can build it up and you don't get, you know, lots of layers. It's not thick. So, you know, when you pour resin or you're finishing your work with resin, then you don't have to worry too much about pouring multiple layers or coats because it's so thin. But again, you don't have to use this if you don't want to. But I will say it is something that I use quite frequently within the program. Another favorite that I like to use, believe it or not, are these Stay Wet paper palettes. You can use these obviously when we're working with acrylics and inks, and I use these as also a way of a catch-all behind my paper substrate, and then I'll use this in my work. So really, you can use anything you want. Don't feel as though, you know, you're sort of can only use so many materials or specific materials. You can use whatever you want. So again, there's lots of materials that you can use. I just showed something on my newsletter the other day. This is a paper product just off the roll. I'm really liking products from OAS. Really, really like them. They're on Instagram, and I'll share that link too. Do you have to resin? I'm sorry, I'm not looking in there. I'm trying not to look at the chat. No, you do not have to resin because I have a number of modules that are in this program that even though here we're going to be, you see the panel there on the left, that's actually not the project that we're doing. I'm actually filming this week a new module for collage with resin. But the first module will be collage with resin, and we're going to spend a ton of time on troubleshooting resin as well, because a lot of people, they have problems with resin, especially with collage. When you're resining over regular things, just one layer, it's easy to resin because there's not as many things that can go wrong. But when you're using resin over collage, there are a number of things that can go wrong. So we cover all of that in the program, troubleshoot everything, and it's usually a hot topic of debate as well, which is great because when we go through the weekly live Q&As, I'm usually there and joining everybody who wants to participate, come on the weekly lives. I'm on there for an hour at least, answering questions and going through the content. And I always find that with the live Q&As, even though they're recorded as well, so again, if you miss them, it's okay, but there's always like tidbits of gold in the lives that aren't covered in the program. These questions come up and then people have recommendations and we kind of answer, and there's gold pieces of information in the lives that just aren't shared in the modules themselves and in the lessons. So it's a really valuable component of the program, these weekly live Q&As, to show up and get that extra valuable information that you wouldn't have in the program. But again, sorry, I'm diverting a little bit, but no, you don't have to use resin, but we do that in the first project. After that, we move on to collage on paper. Okay, so I just, chatted about some of the paper materials that I use. After we finish collage with resin, if you don't want to use resin, you don't even want to work on a panel, then you can just do work on paper. You use different glues and there's a slightly different process. You have to be a little bit more intricate and careful in the way that you create and adhere collage to paper, because if that's all that's your finished piece. So the one where it says collage on paper, we're going to be doing like a fruit bowl like this with lots of different texture papers that we create. And I'll share with you how I create these strips of gold like that. And you can create anything you want. You don't have to do a fruit bowl. Like I've shown you some examples here. You can create anything you want. I'm just giving you the inspiration for the textures, the creations on paper. So again, when we get to this module, you're going to create a whole new series of paper textures. So each time we go through a new project, a new module, you're going to have new textures to create. And so when you create on paper, I'll show you options for finishing, okay? It's not going to be resin when you're doing collage work on paper, obviously. So you can save yourself the money if you're not thinking of using resin, that's fine. You can still go through this program. There's lots of projects and ways of finishing your art that you can, do other than resin. But it's a popular topic and something that I have a love for, so that's, in there as well. So I'll show you how you can finish your collage work on paper. You can frame it, mount it. There's lots of different things that you can do. So that's in the program as well. So that's another module that we go through. There's also a module on, and I don't have an example here actually today, but there's also a module for color mixing, which sounds fairly basic. And, some people kind of yawn and they say, oh, color mixing, great. But you know what? If you want to save money and really learn how to mix your own colors and create a limited palette with the primary colors plus black and white, you can make an array. A huge amount of alternatives and colors, so to save you from having to go to your local art supply store and shelling out money because you want this one specific color. If you have primaries, you can make secondaries, you can tint and shade, and you can add that black and white. You can make hundreds of different colors. So I take you through a little bit of that process, give you a good understanding, and so that you can document and write down and create your own signature custom color palette. Because there's nothing better than having people look at your art and say, well, what color did you use? That happens to me quite a bit. And I'll say, well, actually, it's a color custom, it's a custom color that I mixed. And I share all of my colors as well in the program. So all of my favorite colors that I use or create, I share that with you in the program too. So, if you see something that I, create and you love the color, I'll share that with you in the program. I share everything. I don't keep any secrets in my program. Like, I'll share in that content whatever we're learning. If you have questions, I don't say, oh, I'm not going to share that with you. No, I'll share everything with you. That's the reason you're taking the program. Okay. All right. So the great thing is, after color mixing, then we'll dive into a couple of other things. Something new that I did in fall, which was really, really popular and everyone seemed to love, was cyanotype. Oh my goodness. If you love unpredictability of cyanotype printmaking, then we're going to be doing this. And it was probably one of, I would say, a favorite module for this particular program, because all you need is this kit right here. This is the Jacquard cyanotype kit, part A and part B. This is it right here. And you don't have to use Jacquard. I love Jacquard. I love that company. And this is the part A, part B. There's other brands on the market, but this is all that you need for that particular module, along with watercolor paper. So this particular module, you need a porous substrate to create. And I use a couple of different watercolor papers. Now, this one, I don't have any left on it, but I'll show you right here, this particular one. This is called Fluid 100, and it is a hot press finish. It's 100% cotton. Again, you don't have to use this. I use a variety of different watercolor papers for the cyanotype module, and you can use whatever you have. In fact, whatever you have on hand is probably going to be very helpful, because you can use and experiment with different watercolor papers. Even if you buy one-off pieces off the shelf of your local art store, they're all going to really give you different results. And it's really amazing how, depending on the brand of the paper that you use, and the type of paper, watercolor paper, you're going to get lots of different results. So it's awesome in that regard, because you really get to experiment and have fun. And I'll show you again some of the work here that we do here. Now, I just have a few pieces left over. And what we'll do with these pieces in particular is that we can then incorporate them into other work, right? You can incorporate these into collage. You can finish with resin. I actually use these in the encaustic module. I'll get to that in a minute as well. So these are really unpredictable. We use a lot of natural ingredients to create different effects, and then we'll tone our pieces as well. You can see I've got a few cut up pieces here. We'll use a lot of natural ingredients to change the color of our cyanotype, as well as a few chemical ingredients if you want to learn how to tone your prints and do different things with. But they're so much fun. And you can use stencils here. You don't have to use the regular elements that you would find, in your backyard. So these were all things that I picked out of my backyard. You can use branches, little twigs, whatever you want. If it's summertime, then you can pick something. But you don't have to do botanical. I've done a lot of geometric stencil shapes. I create my own stencils. You can use store-bought stencils. So you don't have to do a realistic look. If you want to keep it abstract and create more of a unique, different kind of look with cyanotype and create a wonderful, one-of-a-kind print, nobody's going to replicate it, then cyanotype is really cool, and we'll be covering that as well. So you'll need the cyanotype kit for that. And again, all of these things I'll email out to everybody so that they know what is happening. But again, you still have time, right? When you join the program, because it goes through each week, you've got weeks in advance to get these things. And again, if they don't come in on time, don't worry. You can go back and do it. There's lots of time, lifetime for you to do these things. So not a problem. So the next one after cyanotype will be encaustic. And you can see here, this particular one right here in the middle, then that's done with a cyanotype print. And in fact, the one on the top there, that kind of fern one with the gold leaf running through it, that is also one of the cyanotype modules. So there's lots there that we can use and put into our encaustic. So I teach you a couple of different ways to use encaustic. It's a very basic intro. If you haven't done encaustic, you don't have to spend a ton of money on encaustic supplies. What you'll need is basically 1 or 2 colors of encaustic paint. And I'll quickly just show you, again, some of the things that you need. You're going to need a paint palette for your encaustic. You're going to need some encaustic paint. And again, all of these things I'll share with you and we'll go over. So let me just show you some examples here of what I'm talking about for encaustic, just to really get you going with encaustic. So let's move these out of the way. You can buy just the small little encaustic, and you can't really see very well on the overhead here. I don't think that's can you see that? It's not focusing. Hold on. Wow. There we go. It's the wrong way around. So this is by R&F. It's just a small little, what size is this? I want to say 40 mils. Yeah, 40 mils. So all you need is a white. You can buy them in different sizes, like bigger, but if you're starting out, you just need one of these little pieces right here and one other color. So in the modules, I use a cobalt blue and I use a white of some kind, okay? Make sure that they're opaque. These are opaque. So titanium white is the other one right here. So you can get titanium white, one color. Then you need a medium. You can buy your medium already in a can. Actually, this is white, but you can buy ones in cans. Encausticose is another one. And then you can also buy it pre-made in these little pellets right here. So these are just the beeswax and Damar resin already made for you. And you just buy it by the bag and then you can pour it in these little tins. So you just need a couple of these tins. You need some medium, which is just colorless. And then you need 2 colors of this. And you need, what else do we need? We need some oil paint. So 1 color or 2 colors of oil paint. This is any kind that you want. And you're going to need a Hake brush is what I recommend here, which is all natural. You don't want to use synthetic. So one of these brushes, and then really that's it. And then you'll need a couple of tools, but again, you'll have those. We'll go through all of those supplies. You can really use anything you want for those. But the other thing that you're going to need is one of these sort of grills, like these pans that come with the attachment, and then you can adjust the temperature. So that's what you're going to need for encaustic. Those are the things that you need. And of course, your little tiny wood panels. And I would suggest just working on the 4-inch wood panels for those. So really, really easy to use. And again, all of these supplies will be sent out. You don't need to get them right away. It's fine. But those are the projects that we're going to be working on for encaustic. And if you don't want to finish with encaustic or you don't want to do encaustic, then that's fine. So again, right here, there you can see that I've got some textures here. We're going to do gold foil. We're going to do like an accretion kind of texture. Very, very introductory and simple and easy to do. So that is a ton of fun as well. That was a really popular module in fall. So we'll definitely be covering an intro to encaustic. But if you don't want to finish your work with encaustic, you can use other things. And again, I'll share with you what you can use, whether it's resin, you can use wax, there's sprays that you can use as sealers and protectors. So there's lots to cover for alternative finishes for your art. Okay, so not just resin, not just encaustic, lots of different variations that we go through for that. Okay, I always think the last module is probably the best. It's the most anticipated, and probably I would say, everyone gets really excited for textures, right? Dimensional textures. So these are the textures, a few of them. Actually, all of these are what we actually create in the course. So I do have my own technique. That is one that I came up with, and I know people are doing it now, and that's fine, but it's the one there. I think this would be showing on the right hand side for you. It's the one that I'm holding in my hand. This is really layered, and you get some really cool pattern effects underneath the texture material. So I take you through a standard texture, so we create that. Then I take you through another one that is more of a moody, gold, again with black, different sort of layering and different process for that. And then the one on the right. So these here are a ton of fun to create, and it's probably, again, another favorite when it comes to creating textures. So speaking of the texture supplies, I'll share with you those right now so you can have a good understanding of what you need for dimensional texture. So we're going to need, obviously, our wood panel, and we're going to need our modeling paste. So we're going to use modeling paste, crackle paste, and also a fluid crackle. So I'll share those with you first so you can see what they are. And again, there's substitutions for these, some of them, okay? We've gone through this before, and because of the fluid crackle ground, then a lot of people, struggle with trying to source it or find it, or it's out of stock. So, one of our moderators, Elizabeth, really came up with a cool solution for adding water to a couple of different brands of crackle paste that creates a fluid ground. So hold on here. Let me show you. So the first one we're going to be using is the golden crackle paste. And again, you don't have to buy this size. So this is a favorite go-to. You don't have to use this brand, but it is probably the most popular, I would say. It's very fluffy in consistency, and so we're going to be using that in the textures. That's the first one. The next one is the modeling paste. This is one by Liquitex, and this is a flexible modeling paste. So if you do decide that you want to work on canvas frame and you don't want to work on a wood panel for modeling paste, then you can just make sure you buy the flexible. So I'm going to be using this in the program as well. So you don't have to use Liquitex, but a modeling paste as well. That one will come in handy. The liquid ones that are, the ones that everyone says, oh my goodness, how do you get those effects? The main one that you need is by TriArt. So TriArt is a Canadian company, and it is the liquid crackle ground. That is what you need for the fluid crackle ground. If you don't have this or you can't get it, another option is Fusion Crackle Texture, which essentially is the same product in two different bottles, two different brands. But these are the two main products that we use. And again, please don't worry if you can't get these. We have substitute lists. And Elizabeth, our moderator, there's something that we can share so you can get the same consistency using other crackle products to get the same effect. It doesn't work with every kind of crackle paste, but there's quite a few that people have worked with, and it definitely works well and does the trick. So these are the crackle grounds that we use. So again, the TriArt, the Liquitex modeling paste, and the golden. So those are the things that you need for those texture dimensional series of work that we get to near the end of that. So we'll definitely be covering all of that, and it's a fun one as well. Everybody loves that module. Lots of amazing projects that people create. In fact, I wonder if I can bring some over right here. Hold on, let me show you. I might be able to do this. Make my, no, hold on, let me see. I think they're on my website, but so here's one here. I don't know if this is going to be brought in or not. Oh, you know what? I need to bring it down here. Hold on. Technology. Okay, let's see if this works. No, no, no. Oh, I wonder why that's not working. Maybe I can bring it in over here. Let me see. Oh, yay, it worked. Okay, so you see that there? So these are just a few examples of student work that, and you see, even though everybody goes through the program, and I'm teaching a specific way of doing, certain things, like I just showed you those texture pieces, everybody uses their own color palette, and then they add something extra, a little something to make it special and unique, and they can just, it's awesome. They just create all of these things. So here's another one. So this one is really cool here. Hold on here. Oh, it's down here. Oh, where did I go? Where did it go? Oh, sorry guys, hold on. I'm covering everything. So here's a few other examples of Crackle Ground and Crackle Paste in different ways that you can indeed use them, different colors in a variety of different ways. So there's lots of unique compositions and lots of unique things that people create and come up with their own things. So it's really, really cool. And of course, here is another one. This is actually the first one here that you can see that people created. This is just the collage texture for one of the very first launches that I did on this program. And again, people come up with their own color combinations and color palettes. Really, really cool stuff that they come up with, and really, really unique. So I think that's a few there that I wanted to share with you. So really cool stuff. And now I have too many screens up going and I'm going to get confused. All right, so there you have it there. What else did I want to share with you? Probably some of the gold products, right? So if you want to get a head start and you know that you're going to be joining the program, the first module, as I mentioned, is going to be the collage on panel, finished with resin, whether you choose to use resin or not. And I use in the program, I use Pebeo and art resin. So again, resin is a personal choice. If you have a brand that you use already, then you just use what you want to use. But I use art resin. I'm no way affiliated with them or anything like that. I've used art resin for a number of years. I do a lot of testing on my products. So you'll see even in the program, I like to make notes, I like to experiment, and I like to keep my things and have them there for months and years so that I can go back and I can see what I've done, I can see what changes have occurred. But art resin is one that I use in the program along with Pebeo. So again, it depends on what kind of resin you're going for and what you're doing. But for the application of collage, you really need just you need a resin finish, like a little bit thicker. So that's why I use art resin, because it's good for that doming effect. And if you've taken my alcohol ink and resin program, then you know I use that in that program. And it's the same what we use here. But I also use casting resin by Pebeo, which is a thinner consistency of a resin and very few bubbles, and you can pour thicker layers. So it depends on what you're doing. But I do also share how I finish some of the texture pieces. So a lot of people, you like the texture and you want to leave it as is, totally understandable. But I also finish the texture pieces with resin. So this is an old sample piece, and this is Pebeo resin on top of here. And I kind of do a casted dome resin kind of pour on here, casting. So if you want to finish your work textures with resin, then I'll show you how to do that, as well as mattifying your resin. So I'll take you through the steps for making a satin kind of finish, mattifying it as well. So we'll cover those finishes with resin as well. So lots of different techniques and things that you can do even just with resin alone. So we'll go through that. All right, so the first module then, if you want to get a head start, you want to get your Yupo paper, and you can get canvas on the roll, canvas pad, you can just get regular plain old cartridge paper, which I know confuses people, but that's just regular kind of plain white paper, acid-free, yellow-free, you know, that kind of thing. Get some of that, any size you want. Get your panels, order some panels, some wood panels, so that you have those. You're going to want some glues, so I can share with you some of my favorite go-to glues for the first module. Collage on paper is a little bit different in that the glues that I use I have so many different glues because depending on the application and the result that you're going for, you need some that are more forgiving than others and some a little bit more delicate than others. But in the collage on resin, with resin, you're okay. You can get away with a lot of things. So one of my favorites is Yes Paste. I'll use Yes Paste a lot for collage work, and it's very forgiving. You have working time. You only need a very, very thin layer. It's almost like a thick Vaseline kind of consistency. Or you can just use regular gel medium. And this is just the regular body gel medium. It can be matte, it can be gloss, satin, it doesn't matter because we're using it as a gel. So we're going to be using that. I would suggest don't get soft body. Get, you know, regular or a heavy body medium, gel medium. This is, I think, Liquitex. You can use Golden. You can use whatever brand you want of this because we're just using it as a glue. And that's what we're going to be using for our first project. And we'll use them later on as well, later on down the road. Okay, and I shared with you before all of my favorite golds, right? So you want to ensure too that you have some other favorites, which are, and I'll do this overhead so that you can see, but the textures, I use a lot of gold for our paper textures. And of course, one of my favorites is by Pebeo, which is the Mirror Effects. This is the foil that is different from gold leafing. And we do use gold leafing in the program as well, minimally. And Christine has created a really great PDF download for everyone who wants to know how to care for and make sure you finish the right way using gold foil so that it doesn't tarnish. But the mirror effects you don't have to worry too much about. So this is one of my favorite go-tos along with the gilding paste, which I don't know why they call it a paste, but it is essentially a liquid. This is the Mixshon gilding paste that you can brush on. So I use these with this particular product, and I use the, let me see if I have it here. Hold on. I know I've got some somewhere. Oh, here it is. This one right here. This is the other product that I like to use with it. And you've seen this, I'm sure, on my Instagram. I use this quite a bit in my work. So these products here I would recommend getting as well if you want to get a head start. So the Pebeo Mirror Effects, the gilding paste, which is the liquid, and then this one in the tube. Now, this is the adhesive. These products here you need in order to use these. Now, if you don't want to use Pebeo, that is perfectly okay. That's not an issue. You can use Deco foil is another one, Deco Art. And I think we have that as a substitution as well in there. But again, registration opens next Tuesday. So once you get in there and you get the supplies and the substitute list, you've still got lots of time. We don't start the program until Monday, May 16th. So lots of time, but I wanted to do this in advance and give you a sort of kind of like a heads up and give you an overview of everything that we cover in here so that, you know, you're excited and ready to go and don't feel as though that you need to get everything. Like I said, you just get what you want, go through the program, take your time, and we're there to help you and support you. So when the program opens, now I know people are asking right now, if you're on the wait list, that's perfect because I usually send out supply lists and things like that and updates right away to those on the wait list. But it's okay if you're on the newsletter. The next one that goes out, I'll have the link there as well to the wait list. And the day that the course opens, then I'll share the link with you. Like you'll get an email and you'll get the link and you'll be able to sign up. So if you've never taken this program before, ever, then the program is 5 weeks in length, as I had mentioned earlier. And of course, it usually goes over because I'm one of those people, I want to help everybody and I extend it. So I'm always around for support. So that comes with every week new content. It comes with substitution lists, products, downloads. It comes with weekly live Q&As that are really important, I think, because you get all of that extra valuable information. A lot of the live replays that I've had, I'll drop those into the course as well. And lifetime access to this content. There's hours and hours, guys, like honestly. But it's $549 US for this program. And you can break it down into installments. There's a 3-month plan. And you know what? If you're thinking, oh my gosh, it's so much money, then it comes with a guarantee. So if you go through and we start off and I think it's 10 days from the day that you join, you come in, you're part of the Facebook group if you want to join, we start the first project. And for some reason you're like, you know what? This is not for me. I don't know why I signed up. You can get a refund. It's perfectly fine. You know, there's no once you're in there, if you feel as though you made a mistake, you have 10 days to change your mind. But I know you guys aren't going to want to change your mind because the community is awesome. You guys will have such a blast. Amazing people, amazing artists from all over the place. And I know that you'll connect with others and you'll feel good. Like you'll get to ask your questions. You'll feel safe. You'll feel supported. You won't be alone. Is everyone's going through the same thing. All of the frequently asked questions are on the wait list page. So I know people are asking, well, you know, I thought that there was, you know, information about the cost and everything. It is there. If you scroll down on that waitlist page, and I know Christine has dropped it into the chat. I think she did initially, but so it's taelife.com, TAELIFE.com. So if you just go to taelife.com and you go to the top, it'll say waitlist for Mixed Media Masterclass. If you click on that and you scroll down, you'll see the frequently asked questions and it includes the cost there, okay? But when it opens up for enrollment, the page will show all of the modules and all of the information and all of that stuff. So don't feel as though that you're not going to get all of the information because you will, I promise, okay? All right, guys, I have taken up so much of your time. I do not want to, keep you waiting. I know you've been on and we've been on for an hour, but I'm going to jump over to see if there are any questions. And if there are, I will answer them right now. Christine, is there questions or are there questions? So I know if I need to go over and answer them. So if you can just drop in the chat. Oh, you sent me one? Okay. All right. So guys, yes, there are classes on texture. If you just jumped on, Amy, then yes, I just shared all of the textures that you're going to be creating in this class. And you know what? I'll just quickly show you right here, Amy. There you go. Those are the textures that you're going to be creating. All right. Those right there. All right. Let me just jump on really quickly. I know it's one question. Maybe I should just ask what it is. I hope it's something that I can answer. Oh, Christine. If it's just one question. Okay, hold on. Oh, demo days. Yes, thank you. Is there a vegan encaustic without beeswax? So I do have, oh my gosh, and I'm just lost my train of thought, and I have some right here. Oh, is that it right there? Hold on. Okay. Sorry, I hope, you didn't see my backside and it was all, my shirt was up. But anyway, So this one right here, Ursula, is the cleanest that you're going to get. This is castor wax, and it's cleaner to work with, but the issue is that you can only get it in certain areas, and it's mainly from Australia, because in Australia they couldn't find initially beeswax. That is what it's made with, and Damar resin. So Australia came up with castor wax, and now it's quite popular. It works. It's different to work with, and it comes in these flakes. It's a little bit more expensive if you're outside of Australia. So for me to buy castor wax flakes, then it's going to be more expensive than buying the R&F or Encausticos or Jacquard beeswax Damar resin that's already created for you. It's going to be more expensive, this stuff, but it is cleaner and burns cleaner if you're looking for something like that, castor wax. But that's the only answer I have for you with regards to encaustic medium there. Unfortunately, I don't know of any other kind for that. You could go and ask R&F or Encausticos if in fact they have some sort of vegan line, but I don't think that they do. So there you go. All right, that is it, guys. I hope that answered a number of questions for you. Again, once enrollment opens, it's going to be 10 a.m. on the 3rd on Tuesday. I really hope you'll join me. There's going to be a replay of this. So if you just jumped on now and you're worried that you missed everything, what's included in the program, I cover all of the modules here. I'll send out the replay to you guys. You can take your time with a cup of coffee, cup of tea, glass of wine, whatever it may be, and you can watch again, okay? So this is the last year I'm doing this program, group-led weekly live Q&As with this specific content. Next year is going to be something completely different, and I'm moving on with other things. So get it while you can, because it is lifetime access and you can always come back to it. And the supply list, no, it's not expensive, Kathy. You don't have to get everything that I have. And I say that right at the beginning, okay? Go through the program and go through it first if you want, because a lot of these things you're going to have. Just because I use all of these things here, it doesn't mean to say you need to use exactly everything that I use. Sure, I buy a lot of supplies because I'm one of those supply people. You don't have to use all of these things. I'll provide you with the essentials, but a lot of people, as I said, go through the program first, then they go back, revisit, and decide what it is that they want to add to their inventory of supplies, what they want to choose and experiment with, and move forward from there, okay? And it's going to be a ton of fun, and I can't wait to have you guys join me along with all of the other artists. I'm looking forward to it. As I said, there's people from all over the world that join, and I'm always excited to take this journey with you. So that is it for now, guys. Thanks again so much for joining. If you have questions, feel free to either reach out on my Instagram at Jane Loves Design. You can email me. You can messenger me. I'm not on there as much as I would like to be. But you can be sure I'll answer your question if you can't find the answer. All right, guys, have a good one. I will see you and send out the replay probably tomorrow, okay? If you missed it, then I'll see you then. All right, take care. Thanks so much for joining. I will see you soon. Bye. Take care.